this is it can join us after. Hi everyone, this is Brian Daniels, League of Cities and Towns. Happy to have the Rhode Island Tax Administrator Nina Savage joining us today, as well as members of her team. As we discussed a couple of weeks ago, there are some statutory changes to the real estate conveyance tax that are coming. And so Administrator Savage and her team are going to talk through some of those and the impact on cities and towns and how you can prepare for it. As I mentioned, we're recording this. We do have some clerks on the call. We will also share the recording with the finance director's list, but also the clerk's list, because some of that administrative work will land on the clerk. So we want to make sure that everyone is prepared. So with that, I will turn it over to Administrator Savage.
Perfect. Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for facilitating this. My name is Nina Savage. I'm the tax administrator, and I'm here today with members of our team that will go through about a 30-page slide or so pretty quickly. I just want to highlight a few things. These changes go into effect January 1st. We will work with you. We want to highlight that most of you file in paper and pay electronically, and our goal with ri.gov is to turn that off beginning January 1, and this presentation will deal with the alternative, which will go live, which is live now. You can sign up for our taxpayer portal now and file and pay at the same time. That's what we're trying to encourage in today's presentation. Go over some of the changes, but I'll get started. I'm going to share my screen. And if you have any questions, this is intended to be a conversation, but I think Brian circulated the deck already. Brian, did you?
I will do that after the fact when I send the follow-up email.
But it's quite a lengthy presentation, but it's intended to be a conversation too. So if you have something you don't understand, either throw it into the chat, and we'll have, I think Bethany maybe monitor that chat, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. So now I have to, what is it? So we're going to talk a little bit about us, then go into the changes about the current law versus the January 1st, 2022 law, go over our forms, how do I file and pay, and that's because, again, we're turning off the ri.gov portal, which most of you are using now to pay, and then go over why it's the best way to file. And then with your questions, we will be developing FAQs and best practices, and we wanted to highlight that, but we're not going to discuss that today. And again, this is a conversation, and we're here to assist in this compliance. It's nice to see so many familiar faces on this team, but for those of you who don't know, we have 253 tax professionals. That's going down to 218 because the employer tax section is being transferred to the Department of Labor and Training because they work on a different union, different system, and they handle the UI, JDF, and TDI. Oh, did I not share the slides? So let me just go back. Sorry. So this is our presentation. This is our agenda and about us. So we have about 218, and actually given some of the challenges with employee retention and retirements, we're hovering right around 200 most of the time. 58 different taxes and fees, $4.5 billion in FY21. Real estate conveyance is in this $557 million bucket with estate, meals and beverage, hotel, and the largest, of course, is personal income tax, sales, and then business corporation tax. This is a diagram just to show you that most people think Division of Taxation only deals with taxpayers, but really we touch virtually every governmental entity within the state of Rhode Island. For the cities and towns, we do distributions of hotel tax, meals and beverage tax, and real estate conveyance tax. So it is our team of 200, and our excise tax team, which is the team that Leo LaBeouf and Teresa Iafredi handled all of these taxes. And then Kristen Cipriano's team, which is revenue accounting, reconciles it to the penny daily and does the monthly distributions. And you'll be hearing from them soon. So just to get in, the current law is in 4425.1, as you all know. Under the current law, it's for consideration over $100. The tax is equal to $230 for each 500 or fractional part thereof. This is the current formula. In the FY22 appropriation bill, which I've listed here because some of the changes have not made it into the Rhode Island general laws. And it's a very, as you all know, the appropriation bill is very long. So I've highlighted the section in the page on the link where the bill is. So as of January 1st, 2022, an additional tax will be due. It's really adding over the amount over 800,000 divided by 500 times $2.30. That's the tax due. And as all of you know, this is again a visual where we created this deck as a training tool so the clerks that are here, welcome. We hope you can use this. Brian will be sending it, but we wanted to have things that you could use to train your teams and to have accurate compliance. So the January 1st, 2022 formula is here, same thing, plus adding the amount over 800,000 using the same calculation. So as you know, of the $2.30, $1.10, 47.83 cents is retained by the municipalities. 60 cents goes for state use, 30 cents for the Distressed Communities Relief Fund, and 30 cents to the Housing Resources Commission. Effective January 1, 2022, the additional $2.30 per 500 over 800,000, all of that will go to the Housing Production Fund. Again, this is another diagram intended as a training tool. So, and an example, so for instance, if it's a $2 million sale or consideration paid, the formula results in a $9,200 tax. Right now, the city collects 100%, retains 47.83 and remits remaining to the Division of Taxation. And you all know that the Form CVYT-1 is required to be filed on the 15th day of the month. And we don't, as Raul and Kristen reminded me yesterday, this is really an allocation. We don't distribute in the same way that we do hotel and meals and beverage, but it's an allocation to all of the other general ledger accounts or sub-GLs. After January 1, 2022, you'll still collect 100%, and you'll remit all of the additional, which will be 1.2 million, which is 2 million minus 800,000, which is the difference is 1.2 million times 500, which equals 5520. The total real estate tax is 14,720, and you remit all of the additional to the Rhode Island Division of Taxes. So I'm going to turn it over to Leo and or Teresa to go over the forms, and I'll navigate the deck. I don't know who's speaking first. Or...
Good morning, it's Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Hello. So you folks are very familiar with this form. The clerks anyhow. This is a form that you fill out every month for to submit the return. This top part does not change at all. This is demographics, the city name, federal ID number, address. One small pinpoint that happens, some of you forget to put the month ending. So just be conscientious of putting the month ending on the form, if you don't mind. But this slide is not changing from the previous return. Nina, okay. One up, Nina, please. This is changing. So Schedule A used to be the amount collected, then the amount that the city gets to keep, the 47%, which is $1.10 out of the $2.30. And then the net real estate conveyance tax due that used to be the amount that it was declared to the state of Rhode Island. You'll see that line 4 is highlighted. This is your new $2.30 over the 800,000 mark. Then 5, 6, and 7, lines 5, 6, and 7 did not change from the previous return. Then you'll notice that line number 8 now is also highlighted because it's no longer just line 3 plus line 7. It's line 3 plus line 4 plus line 7 rather. We try to make it as easy as possible in the form. So column A is going to be your full amount of tax collected for the first $2.30. So in Nina's example, the $2 million, the $2 million divided by 500 times 2.3, that amount, which I believe it was about 4,400, will go into column A. Then the amount over the 800, which was your $1.2 million, divided by the 500 times the $2.30, which I believe it was 5,000 plus, that number will go in line B. And when you total it at the end of the month, line A will go on line 1 on the front page, and line B will go on line 4 in the front page. Any questions so far? Okay. The mobile and manufactured home conveyance is not changing at all. So do we have any questions on that portion? Okay. So my next slide is, I created a quick cheat sheet, if you would, and I'm planning on expanding it a little bit. And I have no problem sharing this spreadsheet with everybody. It's just a quick sheet. Says, you know, the selling price is $1 million, how much, and the calculation goes across. So all what you have to do is just put in the amount of the property, the selling price of the property, and it should calculate it all the way across for you. It's simple. You can do your own if you'd like, but I have no problem sharing that as well. Any questions for me?
I just wanted to highlight that we are in the process of updating our website, which will go live November 18th. It will have a different look and feel, but have the same information. And on that, one of the things we want to put up is a calculator, an Excel spreadsheet calculator for you, hopefully before the tax goes live. Does anyone have any questions for Teresa? Great.
Thank you.
Is it Rahul that's next? You're on mute, Rahul.
Yep. Hi, I'm Rahul Sarathi, and we're going to walk through kind of mechanically how are you going to do this, and then kind of show you some of the features that we're going to have. As Teresa mentioned, there's going to be a calculator, and what that's meant to do is, you know, this calculation is just getting more and more complicated, right? Because you got to figure out how much you retain, then how much is getting sent to us of the initial part, the second part. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a spreadsheet, and it's going to be a calculator where you can just enter the sales price, and it will kind of tell you what the different pieces of money to collect, how much you should collect from the taxpayer, and then how much should be remitted to us. And you're going to see in a couple slides, we actually have created a way for you to then upload that spreadsheet with your return. So you'll see as we go through here, we want to make this filing rather easy, but because there's now bifurcated rates, schedules B and C, which traditionally may not have been filled out completely, do need to be filled out. So we've kind of gotten a way around that where we can give you an Excel sheet that's going to be your method of filling out those schedules and then being able to attach it rather than have to fill out paper returns anymore or have to key in forms on the web. So first off, this is the web portal's address. You can go there now and register and create a user. And then you'll see from the next page, when you go register, all you need is to get a PIN. If you want a PIN, we have a customer experience team that will get back to you that day or answer the call as to getting you your PIN so that you can get signed up that same day. The PIN is to allow you to connect your city or town to your user account. So maybe you have one person who's in charge of real estate conveyance, but another person who might collect sales tax. You can have multiple logins and multiple users, and they can each have access to the city or town and have access to different functions and features. So with this
question in the chat, is there any way for the web form to do the calculation, removing the need for the Excel workbook supplement?
Yes, if you would prefer to key all the information into the web form will calculate it. As you go through, you'll see that it's iterative by nature, meaning that it will be slightly longer if you choose to do it that way, but you absolutely can. And really, the website's also intended that before you file, it's kind of your checks and balances to make sure that the attorney and the closing fees being collected, the tax is collected as part of that is the correct amount. So you can use the web form to do all the calculations at the end if you have a different way of calculating it when you're collecting the tax. So you're going to then, once you get your PIN, very simple, one step to connect your PIN. You're going to enter the FEIN and your PIN number that you'll get. The PIN number can be sent to you via email to authorized users or in the mail to you. And you only need to do that once. So you sign up tomorrow with your PIN, you're good. And on the next page, we'll see that this is a lot more than just real estate conveyance. So this is any tax that you might file with us. You can file all your returns and pay all of your payments. And we'll kind of get into how that works a little bit later on. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to show you, we just kind of went in here and first we want to select your taxpayers. Now, quite honestly, you guys are probably only going to have one taxpayer because it's going to be your city. But the next slides kind of show you that you can, if you are an administrator for multiple entities or your city's organized to have multiple FEINs for different pieces of the business, you can register once and have access to both of them. Next slide. Thank you. So to file a form, it's very simple. You click file a form. And then the next slide will show you that these drop downs are configured to your account specifically. So you'll see your accounts, your entities, if you're amending or filing an original, and then you'll actually select your period that you're filing for. So you see here that we've got conveyance tax selected, and that because we selected the entity of city of any town and the real estate and mobile home, it automatically populates the account ID. So what that's going to do is that's going to make sure that it's a direct route right to your account, and you don't have to wait or worry about if there are any payments that got delayed or suspended or did the return come through. One of the great things about this is as soon as you file, you actually can see a full transcript of what you just sent, and you can see all the payments that you have pending. So the next slide, this is what the schedule actually looks like. So this is Schedule A. This is the old version. The new version, as Teresa said, is going to have a new line 4, shifting down to 8 total lines. So you can key in the amounts here. And we've set it up so that you can key in Schedules B and C, or next slide, please. You can actually attach your Excel document right here. So you don't need to email it to us. You don't need to do any sort of FTP. You just attach the file and upload it with the return. And what will happen is that Excel file will get automatically saved to the period that you're filing for. So if there's any need to reference it, you can see it and we can see it. And the question was asked in the chat, can we do a calculation? Yes, you absolutely can do a calculation. So once that's it, that's how you submit a return. And once you submit the return, it will actually prompt you to make the payment. And it's going to know the payment amount that you just had on your return, and it's going to carry it through for you to make that payment. Now, make a payment now, I'll say, means start making a payment now. It doesn't mean that you have to debit the money today. You can actually schedule the payment up to almost a year in the future. Keep going. So you're going to come here and you're going to see that you just click a box to pay the balance and select your payment method. So what we do is we allow you to store a bank account just like you would on the RI.gov website today. RI.gov will maintain your bank account as a secure token, so it will never be sent through. And then once you hit the next button, you're going to see it's going to allow you to choose an existing web account, or it's going to, bank account, or it's going to allow you to key in a new bank account. So once you choose a bank account, you can use that bank account for subsequent payments, and you don't have to keep entering in your information. You can also use that bank account across tax types if you'd like, or you can keep it in one tax type. I know that some people may choose to keep their kind of trust funds or like real estate conveyance collected in a separate account than they might use to keep their sales tax or even payroll. So that's an option for you as well. And then you'll see that effective date at the very bottom of the screen. You can actually choose what date you want the payment to come to us. So on the 2nd of the month, you can file your return and schedule your payment to come out on the 15th. So once you do this, you'll get a confirmation, a pretty detailed confirmation, where if you have that confirmation number, we can see your account. We also know your account by that account ID at the bottom. So some of you have noticed that recently your notices now all have account numbers on them. Next page. Now, if you filed a return but didn't make a payment, there's ways to just make a payment as well. So when you select the make a payment function from online transactions, next page, you're able to choose different types of payments. So in this case, we're going to choose an account period payment because we want to pay for the period for real estate conveyance. For other taxes, you could also pay bill payments, estimated payments, extensions, or even your withholding payments if you do not use a payroll provider to do that for you. And you see we skips over the line items because you've already filed the line items, and it goes right to the payment amount. And now the steps are the same as if you had initiated a payment from the web page. So one of the nice features about this is you can go in and you can see everything that you've submitted, both payments and forms that you filed or returns that you filed with us. So when you go to your saved and submitted items, you can see what you've submitted. And if you start a return, you don't have to finish the return. You can actually save it and resume it later. You'd see it in your incomplete documents then. Next page. The other thing that we have enabled is you can see messages. So for certain types of things, like a payment cancellation, if you go in and cancel it, you'll get a confirmation that your payment has been canceled to your secure mailbox inside the portal. And in the next couple of years, you'll start to see kind of a more enhanced use of that. Next slide. All right, so I think I'm going to turn it over to Kristen to kind of talk about some of the other features and why this is really the simplest and best way to pay.
Good morning. So why do we want to file on the portal? Oh, first, it's free. There aren't any fees associated with using our portal. The returns will be filed online. This results in a saving for printing costs for you and also on mailing costs. It's one stop. It allows you to file and pay your taxes in one place. There's no need to pay online and then send in your returns. You can file and pay all in one place. I do want to mention that it is nice when you can file on the portal, because this way we have the return, and your returns we do use to a portion of the real estate conveyance tax, which I know Nina had mentioned earlier, is transferred to the HRC and the Housing Project Fund. So in order to transfer those funds, we need to make sure that we have accurate filings. And the best way to have those accurate filings is based on your returns. And we will have these returns when you file on the portal. These funds are then also used for affordable housing projects or programs throughout the communities. Another reason to use the portal is that you'll be able to view prior returns and payments. You'll have a nice history of all your prior returns and all your payments. So if you ever need to go back, you could be able to have a history of all the financial activity that you sent us. There is, as previously mentioned, we do allow you to warehouse your payments. So you'll be able to make a payment in advance and not schedule that payment to be debited from your account. And it's about 364 days in advance if need be. Most of you file on monthly, so you won't necessarily need to use the 364 days in advance, but it would be nice if you're working, the beginning of the month and you want to get all the work done, you can just automatically have that warehouse payment for when it's due. In addition, you'll also have an account balance that'll give you peace of mind to make sure everything is compliant. You'll be able to check, you'll have transparency, and you'll be able to see any delinquencies or debts. So it is a nice one-stop shop where you can get everything done in one place and be able to see the history for all prior payments as well.
So one thing I wanted to add on top of that is that our excise team is very happy. So 8 of you are already on the portal and filing your real estate conveyance that way, and that's phenomenal. And our excise team is actually going to be reaching out to everybody who's not on the portal to set up a quick 30-minute meeting with you and or your clerks to talk about exactly get you signed up for the portal. Make sure you're comfortable with it, walk you through with the different features you can use and how it works, because the portal is the way to file this return. It's going to be more efficient, and we're always looking to kind of better serve you guys and better serve the taxpayers, and kind of everybody's moving towards portal capabilities and electronic enablement, and so our new form is going to be on the portal. So we know that that's a little bit of a change. So what we're going to do is we're going to create almost like not like a concierge service, but really want to make sure that we spend time with you guys and make sure that you're very comfortable with the portal and how to use it, so that come January, you're all set up and ready to go. Another thing that I think Nina alluded to is that the ri.gov website is going to be retired in January. So you won't be able to use that to make a payment. So this will be the way to both file your return and make your payments.
You will be able to access your account history on ri.gov. We are keeping it up, but you will not be able to make payments using the ri.gov channel. So we have 2.5 months. I want to thank everyone on our team for participating and contributing to this deck. As we said, Brian will send it out. I also want to ask Teresa to give her name, phone number, and email in case you have any questions after you receive the deck and are trying to navigate the portal or forms or payments. Teresa and her team are great, and they would be happy to help. Teresa? Here she comes.
I was trying to figure out how to get back on the video. So the very last slide, the contact information should be excises. So let me give it to everybody.
This is wrong right here. This is from another. So we'll not call this. You'll get the personal income tax section.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Teresa, if you put it in the chat, then
oh, sure. Yeah.
If you put it in the chat, then I will send it around to everyone, and people can copy it here, and then I'll also put it in the follow-up with everyone.
Sounds good. Let me just say it anyhow. So our phone number, our main phone number is 401-574-8955. Most of the clerks are very used to call myself or Lori Bakari from my team. I'm going to also give our phone numbers. My phone number is 401-574-8955. 8934. And Lori's number is 401-574-8762. I'll put all the contact information to the team, to Lori, to myself, phone numbers and emails in the chat. So everybody can have access to that as well.
Brian, I'll make that correction and a couple of other tweaks on our deck, and I'll resend that to you before 11 o'clock.
Perfect.
I also want to highlight that, Teresa, if you could talk about the acquired real estate conveyance tax, the controlling interest, and how that process, again, will be a separate process due to the complexities in the law, and we'll have more FAQs on the exemption for Rhode Island housing, and hope to put up FAQs and guidance on our website in the coming months.
For the acquired real estate conveyance, you folks don't see that. That comes directly to our team. We basically audit the return. We make sure that the amount of consideration is proper. We collect the proper tax amount, and then at the end of the month, Kristen's team distributes the city portion. So instead of the traditional real estate conveyance, the cities collect the 100% and remit about 52% to us. In this case, it's the other way around. I know a lot of questions comes up from that entry. Some clerks they reach out to us and say, who is this for? Like, who is this taxpayer? That's taxpayer confidential information, and unfortunately we cannot share it. However, in the statute, it is up to the taxpayer to come to the town or the city, and they should be recording our clearance. The clearance is traditionally will come from myself. It would be signed by either Nina or myself, whoever is available at that point, to record that there was some kind of transfer happening. The same rates apply, same exemptions apply. I know you see it from time to time, but it's that's what happens. That's what happens behind the scenes. We get the return, we audit the return, we collect the proper amount of money, and then we disperse the city share to the cities.
Does anyone have any questions? Somebody asked in the chat, is this different from e-permitting? Absolutely, it's completely different. The Division of Taxation has to have robust firewalls. We are among the most highly evolved, technologically equipped agencies, if not the most technologically evolved in the state. We're moving our infrastructure over to the cloud. We have strict security requirements because of the volume of money and personal information that we handle from both federal and state mandates around security and confidentiality. So this is completely different, and that is why we are taking a concerted effort to meet with you individually, make sure you have the information you need to comply. So I want to thank our team. They're fantastic. I encourage you to reach out to them and use this portal. And the other thing is, if as you're navigating the portal, you come across any issues or improvements or things that you think would help us, we're always looking to improve our processes, so we welcome that feedback as well. Does anyone on the Division of Taxation team have any comments, anything we left out? All right, does anyone have any more questions that were not provided for in the chat? Fantastic.
Nina, I see there is a question about the portal referenced here. It is separate from e-permitting. Yes, that's not one and the same.
Yes. We hope to do more of these specifically with the League of Cities and Towns. We appreciate the virtual format. It allows us to quickly get our team together to answer questions and to help you as we need. So we're innovating and trying to improve the taxpayer experience. So we appreciate your collaboration. With that, we can leave if you have other business to attend to. And Brian, I'll send you the updated deck before.
There was another question.
Oh, okay.
It says, we use Avenue Insights for recording and collection of fees. Would there be a link that would allow a connection with the Excel sheet to generate the fees for reporting purposes? I can't speak directly to the technology, but you should be able to, in a modern platform, go into your Insights platform and extract all of the information if you needed to. And then kind of if you wanted to assemble the Excel sheet to go into those fees, you should also be able to upload information in bulk into your Insights. As Nina mentioned, the security on this portal is at the highest level. It's actually FedRAMP compliance, which means that there's no other portals actually in the States, or most software companies do not support that level of security and interaction. So it would not be proper to allow third parties to have connection into our portal, nor to allow a user to extract data from the portal. As we are governed by the same rules that the IRS uses in their systems.
Any other questions for the taxation team?
I just want to mention one thing. I know some of the cities and towns are using third-party software. In order for any third-party software to use our forms, they should be contacting our form department to get approved as an approved vendor. They shouldn't just take our form and run with it. We're having a little bit of an issue right now with a few cities and towns because their vendor just took our form, and we're working with the vendor right now, so we're straightening that out. I just wanted to mention that if you have a vendor that you are using, you might want to direct them my way, or and then I can connect them to our forms department to get them approved. And I would like to do that now, so we're not waiting till January with the increase in the rate and then you change in the form, and then it's a bigger issue.
But I'll also add that we have a list of all valid vendor forms right on our website that anybody can see. So if you're using a product, or even if you're using a product in a specific form is not listed as approved, that form will not be processed through our system.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And please reach out to us if you have any issues again. And please try to get registered for the portal before January and file either November or December conveyance tax on the portal just to see how it works. And we'd be happy to work with you through that process. Thanks again.
Thank you all. We'll send the recording and the slides to the finance directors and also to the Clerks Association, and they can follow up. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.
So Rob Zarnetsky had to drop off the call. He had another engagement. I don't believe there are any updates from him from the last training that we did with Mayor Fung on American Rescue Plan reporting, but wanted to put it out to the group to find out if anyone had any questions or feedback on American Rescue Plan that you needed help with. Anything? Okay. Is Denise from Tiverton on? I saw her earlier.
I am.
Denise,
Here
do you
I
want to
go.
ask do you want to ask your question about fund balance?
Yes, good morning, everyone. So we're doing a little bit of a data survey. In Tiverton, our charter indicates that we have to have a minimum of 3% unreserved general fund balance, 3% of our operating expenses. And our council is looking for information regarding what other communities do and where they, if they have a policy or is it laid out in their charter, and that kind of information. So I thought perhaps I could either email everyone and they could just respond to me if they'd be willing to, or if anyone knew if there was this data collected someplace else. I did find on the Department of Municipal Finance, the new website, actual balances that were reported from our financial statements for fiscal year 20, compared by the rural and urban and suburban communities. But that didn't really indicate if your fund balance was a percentage of your revenue or your percentage of your expenses, that kind of thing. So I was just looking for a little assistance from the group.
It's a great question. This was right up Peter's alley. When he worked the league, he would do annual fund balance reports and he would look at that percentage. I don't know, Peter, if you or others know about what those requirements are. And if I recall, in some cases it's charter, some cases it's ordinance, some cases it's practice. So it may vary substantially by community. Peter, you're muted.
I don't think there are many that have a specific benchmark. That would be my judgment from having worked on that project a few years ago, but I could be wrong. So I think the right answer is for those people who do have a benchmark in their ordinances or in their charter, they should communicate with Denise. But my guess is that most do not. And it's an educated guess.
Yeah.
Without having done a complete survey.
I'll put the question into the summary. So if anyone wants to reach out to Denise, that would be helpful. The other areas that I know that there's some exploration of this is that GFOA has some recommendations about benchmarks. And the treasurer has also done training on the impact of fund balance and rating agencies. So some of that has to do in both GFOAs and some of the rating agencies' feedback on fund balance. It depends largely on a number of factors. You can't just say, 3%, 5%, 10%. A lot of it depends on revenue volatility, how exposed you are to changes in your, particularly maybe state aid. Property tax tends to be a little bit more level. So I think those are some of the factors you want to consider. I'll see if I can find that GFOA study. There had been one a little while ago. See if I can share that. Oh, Peter, you're on.
All right, and I got a communication from Steve.
Hold on. There we go. Thank you.
I do, as a matter of fact, have the from the league, but I think it was from 2014. So I was kind of just looking for an update for that. But I can see there's a few people responding in the chat. So I think we're off to a good start and I appreciate the assistance.
Great. Yes. So I'll see if I can find that GFOA report, and the report that Peter did is very similar to the updated information that's now on the transparency portal. Any other questions for the group? Okay, in that case, Jen, if you could stop recording.